welcome to another episode of Chats with Steph. With anything goes and nothing is scripted. Today's guest has invited me over to her place to have the chat in her spa. Today's guest is Freya Pinney. Thank you very much for the invite. This is a wonderful experience.
Welcome to the spa, where what happens in the spa stays in the spa. Yay! No rules, apparently.
So, Freya, your work in the area that you currently specialise in, you're not only known for all the achievements in Australia, but also overseas. That's an amazing achievement. What is it that you actually do?
I am a neurodivergent-affirming creative arts therapist.
Yep.
I'm a little stunned by the word achievement being added in there, but I essentially identify as autistic and ADHD myself, so I identify as neurodivergent, and I work with others who I would call my neurokin, so people, that share a kind of neurodivergent culture, even though there's a vast amount of difference within the space of neurodivergence. And the shared space is that, for me anyway, I don't take my personal experiences to mean that they will automatically be shared by others. I affirm the experience of the people I'm working with and allow them to work on the best ways for them to understand themselves and then communicate that to others. And communication is a very broad term that brings together many ways of expressing or sharing things. So it certainly doesn't equate to speaking.
You've been in the area for quite some years. What would you say would be your highlights during that time, and what would you like to be remembered in terms of those achievements?
Maybe the first big shock for me was being able to jump in, and the fact that my own way of viewing the world did translate as a connection beautifully to others that were also different in the way that their brain works and a whole lot of different aspects, and that it did work across a range of categories under the umbrella of neurodivergence. So that was actually a shock for me, a really beautiful moment, was realising that being super open and also sharing and equalising the space, so taking away the idea of hierarchy between a therapist and then a client, and instead working together around using or accessing different creative materials, or seeing any material or any kind of expression as has the potential to actually allow someone to have a deeper understanding of themselves, then potentially be able to know how they want to share that with others. And that could be transformative for people. So there's been a lot of moments that have been incredible for me. I've also published within the Journal of Creative Arts Therapies in a way that was very self-reflective about my own experience of identifying, being very upfront about. It was actually surprising.
I noticed that when I'm alone here by the spa, you've got some really interesting things around us. Like, for example, our historic room over there. Can you tell us a story about that one?
Oh, look, I'm very lucky. It's actually friends that I've grown up with, so I actually make dinosaurs. And this was one of the prototypes they did. I mean, this is very old now, but they now run NatureWorks, and they make incredibly nature-inspired designs for playgrounds that are interactive for children. And they've made all sorts of amazing things, and they've worked in movie sets. And we came home on my son's 4th birthday and found them in our front yard as his birthday gift from them. I mean, he's just turned 16, so it's not young. And we've just come to inhabit our pool area, and we love it.
Did you want to give them a plug for those at home?
So NatureWorks.
Okay, so if you're interested in getting a dinosaur like this or anything similar to that, NatureWorks. And what about the other items behind you?
Oh, look, we just happen to love dragons. My wife and I just love dragons, so we've got a few different concrete sculptures, and my wife built the retaining wall, and we have crazy, somewhat dried up looking plants. It's like we've been away on holiday and we've come back to some beautiful dried flower arrangements. I love the backyard we've created. We don't ever really want to ever leave. I'm quite fond of our skeletons that ride the flamingos, but they don't happen to be in this section.
Now, also, Freya is an artist, and she has her own little gallery inside a massive big shed, which I think we should go and show the folks at home a little bit about that gallery. So I'm just going to introduce a little bit of Steph magic, and I'm going to click my fingers, and we're going to suddenly appear in that gallery. Anyone out there that's watching this podcast needs some advice or assistance, if I got some details from you, I can put it on the bottom of the podcast they can contact you and or send you questions or...
Oh yeah, totally. Some of the other things I do actually do to chill out is we have a pool party. Turn the music up loud and go silly. And,
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. And I do create art for myself and to understand myself sometimes. It's a really amazing process. When I'm creating art for me, I don't often create art to be a picture of something. That'll be a specific project. Yeah. It's more using materials and watching how they work together and layer and build allows you to have insight if you look at things for what they represent. You can get insight into what's happening for you and so that you actually come to understand yourself. And that's really the purpose of art therapy. It's really not about the object that you created, which may hold symbolic meaning, but the value and empowerment you get is about yourself.
So it's more about the journey rather than the destination.
It is, and that's why I go by the process repository. Yeah. Not that it's a repository, but the opportunity exists that people may, like I do keep photographs, for example, so that we're able to reflect over time. Especially children, they really lose sense of time. Time can be experienced in an incredibly different way.
Right. And the artwork behind us, that's all your artwork as well?
I actually did a deep dive into Marvel and DC Comics representations of lesbian relationships and found there's actually a whole series. I'm not good at remembering names in my Achilles heel, names and face recognition, which is really difficult to recognise people in public, but I never remember names and I never remember people's faces. And so those ones are created often. There's hints about potential relationships and people often think of Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, but actually in the stories, the temptation or the flirting was actually between Catwoman and Poison Ivy. But in the actual stories, the ones from Wakanda are married. So it's the head of the army and another warrior are actually married. And this is, I think it's Dr. Jane and Valkyrie, and they actually have a relationship as well within the actual original comics.
Right.
There's actually 27 incredible, strong women who are superheroes. But if you know anyone who's into any of that world, it's really diverse. There's heaps and heaps in that space.
Well, I've got one more question to ask you, and it's nothing to do with your work or anything like that. If you were a dessert, what dessert would you be?
Oh wow, that's really hard. I mean, I have an instant response, but that's just for the wrong reason. When someone asks me about dessert, so I always say crème brûlée. Yeah. But that's actually... That's the first thing that came into mind. Can I say rude things?
Sure, it's your podcast.
It's only because it's my favourite. It's the edible lube like crème flavour, if that's wrong. We went to Sexpo 1 year and you can do taste testing. Yeah. And they have all these amazing flavours of lube, but they have a mini ice cream dispenser and you put the lube on the ice cream and you can do taste testing. Really? I know it sounds really weird, but the crème brûlée is kind of amazing. So, you know, I always think of...
Well, Freya, thanks very much for participating in this chat today. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and thanks for inviting me into your home and patting your wonderful dogs here.
Point out one thing.
Yeah.
This is Merlin, and he's our dog who doesn't like people.
Okay.
And anyone who knows me who watches this is going to be like, what on earth? Toby likes people, he likes everyone. Merlin is not a people liker.
Well, he's liking a side of
the and, you know, Steph's a connection or something. But you know, at our pool parties, Merlin's usually in Steph's arms or on a chair next to Steph who's cooking on the barbecue. And he just doesn't commonly take to people. So
he's loving this.
He is, he's loving you.
If you're watching this and you're enjoying what you're seeing today, get in contact with me. Send me a message via my website, Facebook, YouTube channel, Instagram page, SG Connections, and I'll be in contact with you. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the other side for the next podcast.